Paul, one of the chapters in your book is entitled The Missing Community. And in that chapter, you kind of lay out some of your concerns about highly individualized spirituality or a highly privatized spiritual life, that many pastors feel isolated and sometimes then even embrace that isolation, and they just live very kind of out of the public eye, so to speak. And you note that some of that conditioning is learned in seminary, some of their academic training, where a non-local church setting became sort of the locus of their spiritual community and their life. And seminaries can do that, and even other parachurch type ministries where leaders work can become the center of their spiritual community. Why is that such a danger? And how do we break that cycle and really function as joints and ligaments as a local church for pastors?
Well, I think that there are big, huge cultural things that I'd like to say and move down more to the specific. Sure. The hugest cultural thing is the unique form of Western culture, Christianity. If you take an archetype of Western culture that we all love, it's the self-made man. It's the individual grit. I faced it. I did it. It's Frank Sinatra singing, I did it my way. And we love that heroic thing. If you look at that from a biblical standpoint, you'd have to argue that a self-made man is always poorly made because we weren't designed to live that way. But there is a privatized Jesus and me form of Christianity that is very popular in Western culture that's just not biblical. It's not Jesus and me. It's, I've been called to these two essential communities, community with God. Oh, by the way, God doesn't just do community, He is a community. So that's interesting. So I'm community with God and then community with other people. And I'm only where I was hardwired to be when those two communities are vibrantly living in my heart. Now, what's the weird culture of seminary? I mean, I have no problem with academizing the faith. I have no problem with people who are going to be in ministry to learn the theology of Scripture well. Sure. And to develop facility. But it's not a church. And that sort of, I sit in my desk, I learn this body of information, nobody around me knows me at all. They don't know me. I mean, some seminary situations, they may not even know my name. It's the most individualized, impersonal thing. That environment cannot be a replacement of the church, which is the locus of this Christianity that is deeply relational, where I can't say to another person any more than my hand can say to my eye, I don't need you. It's for me to say, whatever level I am, that I don't need other human beings in my life is a statement of gospel irrationality. It's just not true. It's a delusion. And so, to the degree that the academic environment allows me to be comfortable with matriculating in Christianity unknown, to that degree it's harmed me. Now, let's talk about the culture. If you would go back to seminary culture 100, 150 years ago, every professor was a former pastor. Every professor was a churchman. But with the specialization of theological education, what began to happen is people got into the classroom because they were experts in their field. And so, because the people now who are teaching seminary students haven't come out of the church, what lives in the classroom is a desire to make you an expert in this area of study, but not passion for the life and ministry of the local church. So less and less does a seminary classroom feel anything remotely like what the church is like. But I get comfortable with that being my Christian community. And I carry that into my relationship to the church, and I live this privatized, individualized form of Christianity, which, again, just can't work.